As a deacon in the Archdiocese of New York, once a year we're asked and invited to assist Cardinal Dolan at the 10:15 Sunday Mass. Pentecost Sunday was my turn to assist him at Mass, which I did. And the same day, later on in the afternoon at 2:30, there was going to be a special Mass for all couples that were married or would be married 50 years by the end of this year. And a dear friend of mine and his wife, who I happen to be the best man for, were going to celebrate 50 years of marriage, and they attended that Mass. So instead of going home after the 10:15 Mass, I decided to stay around. I decided I was going to walk, down into the city a little bit and see some of the sights and then come back for 2:30. And I was dressed in my clerical shirt with a collar. And I was standing outside St. Patrick's Cathedral, and someone was protesting. I don't even know what they were protesting. Came over to me and almost got into my face, and I can't repeat what he was saying to me and about me, cursing out priests and clergy and religious. And for a minute there, I just wanted to haul off and punch him right in the mouth. That was the South Bronx in me that was coming out. But I thought better of that. I said, boy, what a headline that would make. Clergy punches out peaceful protester in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral. So instead, I stepped back and I said a prayer, and I asked for guidance from the Holy Spirit. And all I could do was look at the man, and I said, God bless you, and I walked away. And as I was walking away, he continued cursing me. The reason why I tell this story is because in today's gospel, we hear Jesus and his disciples walking through Samaria, asking for rooms, and they're denied. They're not giving any place to stay. And James and John, who are called the sons of thunder, they react to this. They get very angry. They're called the sons of thunder for a reason, because they had a short fuse and they get very angry. And they ask Jesus to call down fire on the village and burn it up. And Jesus reprimands them and rebukes them. He says, no, we can't do this. But to really understand the concept of the Samaritans and the Jews, I think we have to look back at the history of this. We have to understand that Palestine at the time, you had Galilee to the north, Samaria in the middle, and the south was Judea and Jerusalem. And the Samaritans were Jews. They were the 10 tribes. When Israel split, 10 tribes went to the north, 2 stayed to the south. They lived in the north. And in living in the north, they eventually were defeated by the Assyrians in 722 BC. They were defeated by the Assyrians, and they were brought into exile. And the only people that remained in Samaria were the poor and the destitute. And the reason they took them out of Samaria, they were afraid that they would unite again and revolt against the Assyrian conquerors. And the tribes that left are known as the 10 lost tribes of Israel, because they were brought to other countries that Assyria had also conquered. And the Assyrians brought in people from those countries to populate Samaria for the same reason. They didn't want them to reunite. And after a time, the Samaritans united, intermarried with these other peoples that were brought into Samaria, and they took on some of their customs and maybe even some of their religious beliefs. And the Jews to the south resented the Samaritans for that. They said, they're not really Jews. They're intermarried, they're intermingling. And in 587, when Babylon defeated the southern part, the southern 2 tribes that were left, they believed that the Samaritans assisted them. So there was a great hatred there, which has to be understood. Normally, people would not even travel through Samaria. They would go around it if they were Jews, for fear of there being problems that would arise. But here, Jesus is in a hurry to get into Jerusalem to finish the mission that he set out to do. So he walks through Samaria. And really the second part of the gospel talks about people that come to him and ask to be disciples. But I'm not even going to touch that. I just want to remain on the first part of this gospel reading. And basically, what Jesus is saying, violence accomplishes nothing at all. Violence is something that we have to avoid at all costs, and that's not Jesus' message. And he really tells that to James and John. This is not my message. I'm not here to bring down fire on these people. I'm here to bring down my love to these people. So we keep this in mind, and in conjunction with the first reading from St. Paul. And St. Paul says that Jesus freed us from the weaknesses of the flesh. And a lot of times we always think of weaknesses of the flesh in a sexual connotation. But there are other weaknesses to the flesh as well. Our pride, our jealousy of others, our anger, our hatred of others. These are all weaknesses of the flesh as well. And St. Paul tells us that the only law that we must follow is we have to love our neighbors as ourselves. And that's what Jesus is saying today. We have to love everyone. As sometimes people get on our nerves, they may step on our toes, and we feel like we may want to punch them in the face or call down fire on their villages. We can't do these things. We have to take that step back and ask, what would Jesus want me to do in this situation? And we have to ask the Holy Spirit to guide us and help us so that we can avoid the weaknesses of the flesh, as St. Paul says today. And again, the final message I give to you all is violence is not an answer to anything. We have to avoid violence, and we have to accept our brothers and sisters. We may not agree all the time, but we have to love them as we love ourselves. May God give you peace.